Hello, students. Welcome to Lesson 5, Writing and Solving Equations. So let's take a look at this. First, we are going to apply our knowledge of geometry to writing and solving a linear equation. So we've been writing and solving linear equations for a while now. We're going to just add some geometry in there. If you have forgotten, uh, there's an algebraic method for solving equations. It's more efficient than guessing and checking. We know how to write and solve equations that relate to angles, triangles, and geometry in general, and we know that drawing a diagram can sometimes make it easier to understand a problem and that there is more than one way to solve an equation. So let's take a look. If you have forgotten your geometry, triangle sum theorem, all angles add up to 180 degrees. So this triangle, kind of small, I know, but this yellow plus this red plus this blue one add up to 180 degrees. And we can see that because this red one is the same as this red one, and the blue one is the same as this blue one. If you add them all together, it's a straight line, and a straight line is 180 degrees. A right angle is 90 degrees, it's half of the straight line. Complementary angles are two angles that add up to be 90 degrees. They don't have to be next to each other, but they often are. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to be 180 degrees. Again, they don't have to be next to each other, but they often are. Vertical angles are across from each other, and they are equal. And then adjacent angles are angles that are right next to each other. They don't have to add up to 90 degrees or 180 degrees. They're just next to each other and they share that line. Okay. All right, so let's try this. Let's write some equations using what we know about geometry, drawing pictures if we have to. So one angle is 5 degrees less than 3 times the measure of another angle. Together, the angle measures have a sum of 143. What is the measure of each angle? So we have two angles, right? And if we add them together, they are 143 degrees. A lot of times doing stuff backwards makes it easier. So I got an angle, and that's 143 degrees. Okay. There's two angles together, so I'm just going to call one of them x, and then the other one is 5 degrees less than 3 times the measure of the other angle. So that's 5 degrees less than, so subtracting from less, 3 times the other angle. The other angle is x, so 3 times x. So 3x minus 5 is 5 degrees less than 3 times the other angle. Both of them together are 143 degrees. So I'm going to write my equation as x plus 3x minus 5 equals 143. Okay, so let's see how well I did. One angle is x, then the other is 5 less than 3 times x. Add them together, they equal 143. Write the equation. There's the equation. X plus 3x minus 5 equals 143. All right. What is the measure of each angle? So now we have to solve. So both angles together add up to 143. We have to figure out what each angle is. So we take this equation and we solve for x. So I'm going to add my x's together. 3x and x is 4x. So now I've got 4x minus 5 equals 143. That's called combining like terms. Then I add 5 to both sides. That's the additive property of equality. If I add 5 on this side and I add 5 on that side, they're still equal. Think of a balance, right? If I have 50 pounds on this side and 50 pounds on that side, if I add 5 pounds to this side, I have to add 5 pounds to that side. Okay. Why did I do this? Because minus 5 plus 5 equals 0. So these 5s are going to cancel each other out, and I'm going to simplify this side. Instead of 4x minus 5, I'll just have 4x. Adding 5 to this side, so 143 plus 5 becomes 148. So I've simplified this side. It was 4x minus 5. Now it's just 4x. 143 becomes 148. 4x's is 148. So if I split those x's apart into 4 equal piles, divide by 4, then each x is 37. Like that video we watched on lesson 2 when they were covering stuff up with cups. That was dividing the remaining pieces, right? So I'm not done yet. I know one of my equations was x. Remember we had the two equations equal 143, right? So we had the two angles equal 143. One of those angles was x. The other angle was 3x minus 5. So now I know this one is 37. This one is 3 times 37 minus 5. Right? So I'm going to put that in and check. Actually, I'm going to check to see what that is to make sure it's right. So actually, before I do that, I'm going to take 37 and put it in for x. So I have x is 37. 3 times x minus 5 is 3 times 37 minus 5. Put that in my calculator. 3 times 37 is 111. Subtract 5, that's 106. 37 plus 106 does equal 143. Now I do know one of those is x, that's 37, and the other is 3x minus 5, right? 3x minus 5. So the other one is 106. So my first angle is 37, my second angle is 106, right? If we go back to our drawing, right, 143, this one was x, which we found was 37. This one was 3x minus 5, which we put in 37 in there for that, and we get 106. 3 times 37 minus 5 is 111, minus 5 is 106. So my two angles are 37 degrees and 106 degrees. Okay? Try another one. What is the second angle? What if the second angle was called x, right? So I'm going to do this one backwards. Instead of saying I have two angles that are 143, and this angle is x, I'm going to say this angle is x, okay? Well, 5 degrees less than 3 times a measure of another angle. X is 5 degrees less than 3 times another angle. So I'm basically going to do the opposite of that. So that's 5 more than x. 5 more than x. And instead of times 3, I'm going to divide by 3. So now I can say x plus 5 divided by 3 equals 143. Okay. If I did this right, it doesn't matter if I do it forwards or backwards. I should still get the same answer. Okay? So the second angle is x, and the first angle is x plus 5 divided by 3. Add them together, they equal 143, right? The equation. So the equation, just as we said, x plus 5 divided by 3 plus x equals 143. We're going to solve this equation. We should get the same answer. We have to solve this one a little bit different because we're dividing by 3. I've got to multiply by 3 to change that, but this x is not being divided by 3. So basically what I'm going to say is if I'm adding two fractions, I want equivalent fractions. So if I multiply x times 3 over 3, then I'm going to have 3x over 3 plus x plus 5 over 3. Now I can add them together, and I have x plus 5 plus 3x over 3. I haven't done anything yet except add fractions. Now I'm going to start solving. So if I multiply both sides by 3, this one where it says 3 times x plus 5 times plus 3x divided by 3. So if I multiply by 3 and then divide by 3, I end up with the same thing, which is x plus 5 plus 3x. But on the other side, I want to make sure I multiply by 3 as well. The multiplicative property of equality. If I multiply by something on the left side, I have to multiply by the same thing on the other side to make it equal. Like if I had 10 pounds here and 10 pounds there on my weight, and then I put 3 times as many, so I put 3 blocks of 10 pounds, then I have to put 3 blocks of 10 pounds on this side to keep them equal. Okay? So I multiplied by 3. Now I have x plus 5 equals plus 3x equals 429, because 143 times 3 is 429. Now I can put my x's together. I have 1x over here and 3 x's over here, so I have 4 x's plus 5 equals 429. I'm going to subtract 5. This is just like the addition one. This is the subtraction problem of equality. If I subtract from the side, then I subtract from that side. If I have 25 things over here, I have 25 things over there. If I take 5 away from here to keep my balance balanced, I have to take 5 away from over here. 5 minus 5 is 0, so now I'm left with 4x. 429 minus 5 is 424. Now I have 4 x's equals 424. If I split those into 4 equal places, the division problem of equality, if I divide it into 4 spots over here, then I divide it into 4 groups over here, and I'm just going to keep one group. So one of the x's equals 106. And remember from our original problem, the second angle was 106. The first one is 37. So I can put it back in there and figure out what the first one is. Okay. Try another equation. I know we're 12 minutes in already, but we're just going to do one more because these are tough. Given a right triangle, find the degree measure of the angles if one angle is 10 degrees more than 4 times the degree measure of the other angle, and the third angle is the right triangle. So I've got, it says right here, given a right triangle. Okay, so that's a right triangle. Okay, I can make it look like anything I want as long as I get the little x here. That means this is 90 degrees. One angle is 10 degrees more than 4 times the degree measure of the other angle. The other angle is x. That means this angle is 4 times, is 10 degrees more than 4 times. So 10 more than is 10 plus 4 times this one, right? So if every triangle adds up to 180 degrees, we remember that. That means 4x plus 10 plus x equals 90. No, 4x plus 10 plus x plus 90 equals 180. So I'm going to take away the 90. It's really common in right triangles. Triangles are 180. Right triangles are basically half of that because this 90 minus 180 is 90. So I've got 4x plus 10 plus x equals 90. So this is the correct equation, and this is often a correct equation for people who jump into it real quick. Okay, so you can see it. 4x plus 10 plus x plus 90 equals 180 is correct, but also 4x plus 10 plus x equals 90 is also correct because we often jump the gun like that. Okay. All right, so this next part, there's 5 word problems that are pretty tough. Try at least one of them. The answers are at the end. So here's the problems. Exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3, exercise 4, exercise 5. Okay. Summary of the lesson was we use the algebraic method for solving equations because it's more efficient than guessing and checking. We know to write and solve equations that relate to angles, triangles, geometry in general, and we know that drawing a diagram can sometimes make it easier to understand a problem, and that there is more than one way to solve that problem. What did we do? We applied our knowledge of geometry to write and solve equations. Okay, so here are the answers. So remember, take a look at these equations, these problems, pick one that you like, try and answer it. Try and write the equation at least. Go check the equation, then try and solve it. See if you did it the right way. So here's exercise 1, exercise 2. Just pause the video wherever you want. Try one of these. Exercise 3, exercise 4, exercise 5. And then here's the answer for 1. Here's the answer for 2. Here's the answer for 3. Here's the answer for 4. Here's the answer for 5. Okay, good luck.